Hi everyone, welcome to UTV Gooner and our show with Shooting Lone Star with Ram from the Austin Gooners. Hey bro, how are you?
Doing good, man. Kind of a annoying weekend to say the least, but I'm sure we're going to get into it. But other than that, everything's good. Just a sunny day here in Texas. Yeah, man, how are you doing?
I'm alright, bro. Not a sunny day here. It's cold still. Looking forward to spring. Not too far away now till spring and it starts to get a bit warmer. But yeah, bro, as you were saying, disappointing weekend. Let's get into that Brentford game. Unfortunately, finished 1-1. We found it hard again to break them down. They were very physical, a lot of men behind the ball, a lot of time wasting. Similar tactics we saw Everton played against us. We saw Newcastle recently as well. And it's really down to us to counteract this. We didn't really create much in that game. We got the goal. It was a very well taken goal by Trossard. But apart from that, I don't remember us creating much clear-cut chances. They got their goal, which shouldn't have been a goal as we found out afterwards. It's ridiculous. I don't know what's going on with VAR. It's unacceptable. At this level, we're talking about the elite level of football. We're seeing these mistakes, and it's mistake after mistake. It's not once in a blue moon kind of thing. It's happening so much, so regularly. Really, it's just so upsetting because it's vital 2 points it could have cost us. I know when you look at the game overall, you would say that a draw was probably the fair result, but that doesn't matter. And if that goal was disallowed like it should have been, there was every chance we could have gone on to win that game, and it's cost us massively. So yeah, what were your thoughts on the game and that whole VAR situation?
Yeah, that's a tough game because I thought, you know, yeah, that first half was a little tough, but I thought overall, like compared to the Everton match, I thought we raised our level a little bit, and I thought we played a little bit better. You know what I mean? Like I think everybody looked much better. I think the like on defense, I think the one guy who struggled a little bit was Saliba, but I mean he was going against Ivan Toney, and Ivan Toney's a he's a big physical striker, and I mean he beats a lot of people, right? He's a really good player for Brentford. Um, and Saliba had his hands full, you know. And for the most part, I mean he did a good job. But ultimately, I think he struggled. But I think Thomas Partey had a great game. Odegaard looked good, man. He was wheeling and dealing. I just thought overall, like, we looked good, I think, but we just couldn't, we weren't clinical in the end. And I think that's what hurt us overall. I'm happy with the substitution that we made. I know we brought in Trossard for Martinelli like in the 62nd minute. And finally, we were able to see like a good, good, good piece of play, right? And we're able to get a good goal. It was nice, amazing cross by Bukayo Saka. Trossard, opened his account with Arsenal, and it was great, right? For like the about 8 minutes, it was just like it was great. We can just hold on, and then uh, not even thinking about the VAR thing, but it was just very sloppy defensive play overall that allowed that second goal. Um, but then yeah, and then I think with the during the game, I remember thinking like, okay, they did VAR, they showed it. Ultimately, they were like, okay, like it's a draw, they allowed to go, and I was like, all right, fair enough. Let's keep playing. Let's try and win. I thought we had some decent chances. Fabio Vieira had a real disappointing free kick that like the last action of the game. I thought that was real disappointing. But we, on the balance, I think we had more chances to win the game. I mean, as you said, Brentford was really playing that deep block. They weren't really trying to do anything as far as attacking is concerned. They were just going to counterattack us, which is what a lot of teams are starting to do now. Which I'm sure we'll get into it a little bit, but like that's something we're going to have to cope with and figure out, right? Because you know, uh, Everton maybe did a little bit of exposure on how he can beat us, and we're going to have to like be creative. But I think we're going to be okay. We got the creative players to do it. Um, so yeah, I think either way, both teams deserved a point. They probably deserved all 3 points just as we did. Because there were some times in the first half also that they had some good clear cut chances and they just didn't finish it. So they could have been up 2-0 at the half. Yeah, it was very all over the place type of game. So I was really happy to walk away with the point. And then you start seeing all the news come out, the PGMOL or whatever it's called, like coming out and saying like the VAR guy forgot basically to do his fucking job, and I'll admit I haven't read much into it in terms of like their explanations because it's just so upsetting. Like you almost think like just don't even tell me you fucked up. Like just fucking fire the guy or just do this or do that. Like don't come out and say like, hey, we messed up. Because yeah, as you said, man, there's so many like consistent mistakes, and I mean you would think with yeah, one of the biggest sports leagues in the entire world, right? If you take all sports into account, it's one of the biggest in the world. Everybody watches. You would think they have like a higher standard of performance for referees, um, because that was just absolutely shambolic, bro. Like I, yeah, it's upsetting, and that's been sort of the whole theme I've been hearing and seeing on Twitter and reading in the articles is like we spend all this time, like here in the US, right? We spend 20 or 30 bucks at the pub. You know, you guys over there, you guys are spending money on tickets, on gear. We're all spending money on the gear. We're going to the games. We're supporting this club. We're supporting our club, regardless of who your club is. But you're putting in all this money and all this effort, and you expect to, at the very least, like just at the very least, I just want to see like everything be done fair and square. It sucks when you see a game and you think, oh, if this would have happened or if this refereeing decision went this way, it would have been different. Like you don't want to see that. You just want to say like, all right, we won fair and square, or we lost fair and square, or again, the feeling I had during the game, I was like, all right, like fair enough, it's a draw right now. Let's try and win. Like I wasn't too upset when they kept the play or when they kept the goal, right? But afterwards, when you see like, oh, okay, he forgot to draw the line, and then you read that this guy's from Manchester, and then you read that a bunch of these referees are from the Manchester area or from the Northwest area. Like it's you can't help but start thinking like things that are outside of the game that you don't want to think about, right? Like, is it rigged? I hate saying that. Like, it's just so ridiculous because like you just want to enjoy the talent on the field and then let the results fall as they may. But yeah, at the same time, that was a very disappointing result considering everything that came out. Should have had the 3 points, and who knows if that 2 points is gonna like mean the difference. But if it is, like, come on, like it's gonna be so heartbreaking, regardless, right? Like, I don't know. Like, I just hope we can overcome because I don't want that to come. I don't want to be thinking about this Brentford match and that particular mistake 2 months from now. You know what I mean? And that's just a complete failure on the PGMOL or whatever. Like people got to get fired. Like at first when I was reading like, okay, this guy's gonna do the Man City game now. Like how are you not? How is he not immediately fired on the spot? Like I did read this morning that they're gonna have like an emergency meeting tomorrow, but like how was that meeting not like done right before you make the announcement that you fucked up? You know what I mean? Like it almost seems like it's reactive. Like they expected us to just be okay with it and move on, and now they're like, okay, people are really pissed. Like we got to do something. Like, nah, man, you got to do something like right away when you realize that this guy fucked up and forgot to do his job. I mean, he's got one job, right, to draw the lines. Like that's literally. I mean, I'm sure there's more that goes into it, right? But simplifying it, like you draw lines, bro. Like, come on, like take the ruler out, take the pencil, draw the line, like, and you don't even do that, and that's your only job is to review. Like, it's very disappointing, man. I don't know. I don't know where else to go with it, but like, it's fucked up, man. Because again, you want that. Like, we lost fair and square. If it's a draw, fine. But then now it's a draw because you fucked up. Like that goal shouldn't have even counted. who knows if we give up a goal and still draw, but who knows? We could have won the game too. And now you're thinking, oh fuck, like we got robbed, and that's a shitty feeling to feel. Fuck, and maybe even Brentford too on their end too. But you know what? Fuck them. Like they got lucky, right? So because they got the explanation too, right? Like they came up and said, "Hey, Brentford, like we fucked up. It wasn't just like Arsenal. Fuck. It's dumb. It's almost like yeah, it's upsetting. But then to come out after the fact, like, we're not going to get rewarded points. We're not going to get to play the game again. What's the point? Like just get it right. Like at least just get it right on the field and or whatever. I don't know. So upsetting.
Yeah,
Like
bro.
what's the feeling over there? Like what's going on there?
Everyone's really upset. Just can't believe it can happen. Like the reasoning forgot. Like, come on, it's not something you can be forgetting. In situations like that, they should have a protocol to follow. Like, so something, some sort of guidelines that say, has everything been checked? You got to mark a box or something, tick off a box for each thing to say, yeah, I've checked each and every possible incident there could be to make sure that that goal is a fair goal. There shouldn't be this situation where you can forget. Normally in jobs, you have these guidelines that you follow, and you have a task sheet or something that you tick through to say you've complete the task. We need to have something like that there so that these sort of errors cannot happen. You can't just say, "Oh, sorry, it was an error. I forgot." Human error. No, at this level, this elite level of football, there needs to be more done. They have to have a process where that just these sort of mistakes cannot happen. And we're talking about like you can't replay the game. Ideally, in this situation, the game should be replayed. That's the fairer way of doing it, but that's not going to happen. We know. Another thing as well is this is the same VAR referee that disallowed Martinelli's goal at Old Trafford.
Yep,
And later
that's
on,
true.
they came
Yeah,
out. Yeah, later on they came out again, same thing. Sorry, it was a mistake. It should never have been disallowed. What do you mean? Sorry, it's a mistake. It should not be happening. There has to be some sort of way of them fixing this mistakes happening so regularly, and I hope that it does get fixed soon. And the standard of refereeing overall, not just this VAR, but the actual referees as well. The amount of time wasting that's been going on against us. I was speaking to some people after the game, and it seems like a lot of teams are like, okay, we want to disrupt Arsenal's play. So you're seeing now more and more teams are trying to time waste, slow the game down, be more physical, get a lot of men behind the ball. And we're seeing referees are just letting them get away with this. Their goalkeeper, Brentford, what was he doing? The amount of time he was wasting didn't get booked. That referee didn't book anyone in that game until right towards the end. And there was many fouls from Brentford that should have been booked a lot earlier. And we've seen that in other games. We'll talk about that Newcastle game as well. That was ridiculous what was happening in that game. And yeah, the whole standard refereeing really, really needs to improve. It's just not acceptable.
yeah, and I think yeah, I had a thought and I kind of lost it. Oh yeah, um, I don't usually like to say, oh, like let's learn from like American sports because I think there's one of the main reasons I started watching world football was because of my annoyance with American sports. But I think one thing um, that American sports does well that I think football could do well with is in a way to kind of like because there needs to be some kind of accountability, right? Like and and I've been like at Austin FC matches and you see you know and lot when you're in the stadium you don't necessarily get any kind of explanation of what happens, right? You just get the notification on the big screen like VAR check, and then you get the result. You don't get told what the reasoning was. And I think a good thing with like American football, with even like sometimes with basketball when they do flagrant fouls or technicals or anytime they go into review. And then baseball, same thing. Like now they're doing if they go into review, the umpire, the referee, has to announce to the crowd exactly what the call is and the reasoning for the call, right? So an example in American football, like a catch versus not a catch, it's very kind of similar to like what handball is versus not handball. And so there's just a kind of a long rule about what a catch is in American football, and if they do a review and they overturn the call or they keep it, like they explain, after review, the player had both feet. Like they let you know the exact thing that they saw on the replay. Um, I think that needs to happen. Like I think they need to start coming out and saying like what's going on, and then maybe a time limit too. Like because this might be unrelated to like our call on Saturday, but if you spend X amount of time trying to find a reason to overturn it, then it's probably not going to be overturned, right? It's got to be clear and obvious, right? And to me, anyways, spending more than 90 seconds looking at a replay, it's not going to be clear and obvious, right? Like you have to like almost slow it down to the pixels and be like, oh, there it is. Like there's a reason we should overturn it or whatever. Like it's just, it doesn't make any sense. Like we're all speculating here about what exactly like their their goal is when they do review, and we're just always left pissed off. And then of course, and then they come out again and upset. Now I would think if instead of just saying like instead of the referee touching his ear and listening to them say it's a goal or it's not a goal, like he's got to at least get the explanation and then relay that to the crowd and say like, all right, here's the reason there was a goal. We did this, we did that, and then maybe that kind of forces them to be a little bit more, or rather a lot more accountable versus just saying like just telling us, all right, VAR decision, goal, no goal, offside, whatever, like, or like you really only find out because it just says up there on the screen. Like you don't know what penalty they're checking. Like, yeah. And so I don't know. Like that's what I think there needs to be more of. And I don't know if that's gonna happen. Because it seems to be like referees, even in American sports, kind of get away. They don't have to answer questions after games. They don't have to answer to the press. Like it's kind of unfair. Um, so I don't know. There has to be some kind of changes because the week to week thing where you're just game to game. Like I mean, I was watching Liverpool and Everton right now, and you know, or even on Sunday, the both, there was a couple of VAR checks in the United game and the City game, and you're like, oh, now they put the thing, now they put the lines, and I didn't realize, I didn't think too much of it during our match that they didn't put the lines up, and then you go back and watch, and you're like, yeah, they never put up the lines and showed us, like they just said, oh, it's a goal. Um, so who knew? I mean, it's crazy that we just saw the mistake happen in front. Like I had to go back and watch it, and I'm like, oh shit, that's right. No lines. You always see lines, and then we didn't see lines that one. I might have been looking or whatever, talking with somebody at the bar, but it's fucking stupid, man. I don't know. Yeah, I'm rambling now, but there has to be some kind of accountability moving forward.
Yeah, really, there has to be. It's just it cannot continue like this. There has to be. You can't just keep making mistakes and it's okay. Like no way, that's just not acceptable. But yeah, let's talk about the thing we were saying about in terms of the tactics teams have been employing against us. We've know this when you get to this point as well. Teams obviously know we're doing so well. They're going to look to see how they can negate our attacking play, and we're seeing teams are getting deeper and deeper. I would say the whole time wasting thing as well, fouling. But with this now, it's down to us to counteract that. One of the things I was hearing a lot is about mixing up our play and, maybe looking at some more options off the bench. So a couple of things looking maybe at that game yesterday, you could see the way they were so deep, it was hard for Zinchenko to play much in his role as a left back. Maybe someone like Tini coming on who's going to run behind would be a good option. But also a lot of people say when we get Gabriel Jesus back, he's a guy that causes a lot of chaos in the box with his play. So that can, when teams are sitting back and deep, that can still, open up some opportunities for us. It's not so much in Eddie's game to do that. Also, the fact Gabriel Jesus drifts out wide a lot as well, interchanging. So again, that's more variation to our game. So yeah, just a couple of things that people have been talking about. What do you think we really need to do more of in games like this where we're struggling to break teams down?
Yeah, a couple things. Yeah, what you said, I really was thinking about that too. Like a friend of mine at the bar was mentioning how Eddie Nketiah he's a great fox in the box, right? Like he's a poacher. Like that's nothing wrong with that. Like that's his game. In the 6 yard box, 10 yards away. Like he is money, right? And he has a nose for goal, and he's just good at it. But what he's not good at, and where we seem to be struggling, is he's not kind of like what it's just like it's never been like right now. It's not working right, like because they're playing so low and just piling in on the box. It's really hard for Nketiah to find any room, and so him having to come out and maybe hold up play a little bit and get everybody going, like that's not necessarily his game. I noticed him trying to do a little bit of that. He was able to like kind of back somebody down right in front of like maybe about 20 yards in front of the goal. He got the ball and he did like a really sweet spin move, got a good shot going. And I'm like, I wanted to see more of that, right? Like a little bit more him playing a little bit deeper, getting a little bit more involved in building up some action, right? Instead of just him just kind of going to where he's good at. Like, I mean, that's good, but I mean, we can't, you know, when they're playing like that, it's tough to do. The Tierney thing, yeah, I mean, I think one of the things we're seeing with Zinchenko kind of not playing that traditional role like Tierney likes to do. Like when Tierney was at his peak, he was, crashing forward and tossing in some. I saw a stat. It was like 10 crosses a game he was averaging. Like I think we need a little bit more of that kind of action too. But then on the flip side, like we don't have like a big striker, big presence in the position where Eddie and Nketiah would be playing or Jesus would be playing. Like I think that was also one of the reasons why there's still a lot of talk like we need a third center forward because and somebody to like switch up the styles that we have. Like we have two shorter guys who are fast and going all over the place, but I think especially in the past couple games it would have been sweet, especially because like Brentford had a really tall back line, Everton had a really tall back line. It would have been good to have like a tall robust striker to just go in there and knock in some headers or at least get some chances and create some chaos inside the penalty area. But we don't have that, right? So we can't kind of we can fantasize about that all we want, but we don't have that. So I'm thinking, I don't know, maybe giving Tierney a shot. Although Zinchenko's been playing really well as well, but with Zinchenko taking over Tierney's role and the way we've been playing, like I feel like Martinelli's struggling a little bit too. Yeah, so we have to find something. And I wish I had like outside of those suggestions, I wish I had like another idea. I'm pretty sure they're racking their brains over there, just the same, right? But I think at least for this next game coming up, I think we're going to be in a little bit more of our own comfort zone because City doesn't play the low block like these other two teams do. But you know, if I were City, I would figure out a way to play exactly like Brentford did, and just sit back and then on a counter attack, just chuck it up to Holland because we saw Tony give Saliba some pain. That's going to be an interesting thing to just see how City plays because I think if City plays their own game, I think we're going to be fine, much better than we have been the past couple games because they don't play that low block. But we're going to come across more teams that are just going to decide to do that. Villa, especially, is going to probably do that as well. I just don't think they have the quality to kind of shut us down. But again, I didn't think Everton had the quality to do it either. And so you see what they did. So we have to come up with something, man. And I'm thinking what I did notice, at least with this game versus like Everton, we just got to get some shots up, man. Like just shoot. Like at some point, we're just getting a little bit too cute in there and trying to be maybe too creative. But maybe we might have to just try Trossard. Maybe we can get Trossard and Martinelli out there together and have Eddie and Kedia sit down a little bit because Trossard is a little bit of a different type of player. He's better on the ball. I think that's what I noticed too. Like his appearances, like this guy is so shifty with the ball. Like he's a good dribbler, man. So maybe we can get him out there and let Eddie and Kedia kind of be a change of pace, if you will, again, because I think he was hot for a while, and maybe he's a little bit cooled off a little bit, but yeah, we need to try something different. I don't necessarily think City is the game to try it, but I think yeah, moving forward, we're gonna have to like start coming up with some different ideas because it's getting a little stale, and that could be worrying moving forward.
Yeah, I'm sure, as you're saying, that Arteta, his coaching team will be looking at all the different ways they can vary things up. I think some of it as well, just maybe speeding up the play a little bit,
Yeah,
more one touch passing. Also, just looking at, like I say, just variations in terms of formation and the players involved. So, like we're saying, Tini, sometimes in a game like that, would be a better option than Zinchenko just to be getting in behind. Tommy Yasu, another one. Well, Ben White, I've got to give him a lot of credit. In this game, he really was overlapping a lot, and that was one of the reasons that we got that goal because his overlapping run opened it up for Saka. So, but we have got them options where you can maybe bring a Tommy Yasu on, a Tini. You try with Fabio Vieira instead of Xhaka as well, and maybe sometimes just sticking up one of the centre backs up front for a bit, and going a little bit long just to vary up, just saying to like put these other teams off their game because we've seen that we've really struggled in the last two games to create clear cut chances. So yeah, let's hope. And I think the big one's going to be getting Gabriel Jesus back because his play, just like I say, naturally the way he drifts around, it's hard to deal with someone like that. And the way he was interchanging a lot with Martinelli, especially down that left, makes it very difficult for the defenses to stay organized and compact when you got that happening, especially as well. He's such a good dribbler in the box. He's able to cause that chaos, make things happen. So yeah, getting him back, hopefully not too long. Hearing talk of he's back in training, just light work at the moment. Obviously, he's just had a surgery. So it's going to take him time to get back to full match fitness. But yeah, can't wait to have him back. And yeah, let's hope we can start addressing this issue we're having with breaking down this low block. But as you said, next game against City, that shouldn't be a problem. They're not going to come play like that. It's not great Pep's way. We know his way is possession-based football, attacking intent. They're not. They might be a little bit reserved because they know we're a good team. We're at our ground. They might not go gung ho all out, but it's just not his way to play defensively. And I see them coming to attack us. I see it being a great game. It's going to open up a lot of space for us. It's going to be great for our attacking players. We've seen how good we've done in games like that, where it's hopefully a case of you attack, we attack, you attack, we attack, and we just see one hell of a game. It's for me one of the biggest games in a long, long time. I don't know how many years to put on it, but for many a year, I can't remember a bigger game as this for us. It is massive. It's massive for many reasons, not just for the 3 points, but the mental aspect of it, the psychology for us as a team. We've been ahead for so long. The fact now that we dropped these 2 points, City won against Villa, they're only 3 points behind us. They have a better goal difference. If they were to beat us here, they would go ahead of us. And, psychologically, having been in such a good position for so long, it's still a long way to go. We still have a game in hand. We're still right up there, but just mentally, if they were to get that win here, it could impact us. So it's such a vital game for us to win. This is a super dangerous team, and our recent record against them as well. They've been beating us so much in the Premier League. I swear when we had the FA Cup game, I was going through the stats with you, and it's been a long, long time since we've beaten them in the Premier League. So such a massive game, such a difficult game. What's your thoughts on it and how we approach it?
oof, yeah. I think I remember when we played Liverpool back in October or something like that. I was saying as a fan, as a supporter, that was the biggest match for me, right? That I've seen in a long time, like at all, because they were like the big dogs. And then now I think that's about to get surpassed on Wednesday. This is easily one of the biggest matches in the past 5 or 6 years for us, right? Um, Top of the league, the champions are trailing us by 3 points. If they win, they go first. They have so much on the line. I don't think it's I again, I don't think we should try anything new for this game in particular, especially coming off a short week. I think maybe moving forward with a little bit of these teams that are quote unquote weaker, like that are gonna try and shithouse their way to a win and park the bus and all that. I think that's a different kind of approach, right? Especially like a team like Villa, which is also coming up. But I think against City, I just think you know we do what we've been doing, right? Playing our game, worrying about how we can dictate the tempo and the possession, and just going at them head to head, right? Mano a mano, as people like to say. But yeah, I think that's the approach we should take because I think as big as I just kind of built this game up, um, whether we win, lose, or draw, the title I don't think is going to get decided on Wednesday, right? There's still so much season to play, so many games and different competitions. Um, they can go on a run, we can go on a run, they can dip, we can dip. We're kind of in a dip right now, but I mean, we can get out of it. There's so much variables that are happening. Um, but I think the biggest thing about it is that the psychological boost, right? If we can win, go 6 points clear, stay in first place, I think it's huge. It's also going to be huge for them if they can pull off the win. If a draw happens, it's just like, all right, whatever, next game. So there's a lot riding on it, but then at the same time, it's not the end of the world if we lose, and we're also not clinching the title if we win. So um, I think ultimately, I hope that we don't try anything new. I think we go with the same line, same players, and just kind of do what we've been trying to do against teams like Everton and Brentford. Because also at the same time, I did see some kind of improvement from the Everton match to the Brentford match. We went from no points to 1 point. Now let's go for 3 points. Like it's kind of like just kind of progression and little victories here and there. We were supposed to win that game. We lost it because of the fucking refs. Kind of just move on past from that. Can't let it beat you. I mean, the result is what the result is, right? To draw 1 point, we drop points. But I thought we played well enough to win, even though Brentford also played well enough to win. So yeah, man, I think ultimately it's a big match, a big test. Um, and I think there's not going to be a lot of rotation because in the FA Cup there was, and you can kind of see that Arteta was prioritizing the league, and I think you're going to see Arteta prioritizing the league on Wednesday and saying like, "These are our best 11 against your best 11. Let's see what's going on." You know what I mean?
Yeah, bro. I'm hoping for all out attack. A really great game, and we come out with a win. In terms of their approach, it's gonna be ideally for us, like I say, with them coming at us, will give us that space for our players. We got a lot of pace. We know what they like to play, a lot of possession pace football, so slightly they're gonna have a lot of the ball. So when we've got to be really fast and clinical with it. And the way we've been performing in these big games this season, we've been doing that. So very confident that we can do City. As much as I'm bigging them up and saying how difficult it's gonna be, they're champions, great team, great players, and they probably have this surge that siege mentality right now with all the stuff that's going on off the field for them. I'm still confident we can beat them. What's your thoughts? Give me your prediction.
It's going to be, I think, exactly like the other big games against United, against Liverpool. I think there's going to be open play. We're going to come out and punch them hard. They're going to come back and show their quality as well. I think it's going to be a 3-2 in favor of us. I've even said like months ago, like I feel good about our team against City, and that's still improved, and that hasn't changed regardless of the past two games. I think we're as good, if not slightly better than them, and they're not invincible. They're chasing us. You know, everybody's saying, "Oh, Arsenal's been having like they still have to play City they twice. They still have to play City twice." Like, no, man, City has to play Arsenal twice, and I think that's how I still feel as a supporter, and I'm pretty sure the players feel the same way. Because again, they've come out and they came out and played hard on Saturday. Like, there's no lack of effort. They weren't it wasn't just a plain boring black and white game. It came out and you know on all cylinders firing, and I think we're going to do it again on Wednesday because this is an opportunity, man. And we've seen all or nothing. And I think Arteta has some kind of cool speech plan for this game because it's going to be necessary and it's proven to be effective. So I think this is an opportunity, man, because the last time we played them at home, we had a chance to win and we just kind of mentally broke down. And I haven't seen that team do it this year. We haven't mentally broke down. Even in the loss against Everton, even in the draw recently, like recent history, past two games, we're still like we still look like a strong team, and it's just results like that are going to happen. Um, we've had such a hot start, and City are still the champions. But yeah, I'm going to say 3-2, man. Um, yeah.
Okay, I'm going for a high scoring game, so I'm gonna go for 4-3.
Oh,
Yeah, I think it's gonna be a really high scoring game. We're just gonna edge it, but I think it's gonna be one hell of a spectacle. And we know the quality they have, the quality we have, attack versus attack. It could be one of them really high scoring games. I hope it is. Sometimes these games that are bigged up a lot, they end up being like quite defensive minded. Teams kind of canceling each other out. No one wants to make a mistake. Sometimes it end up 0-0 or like a 1-1 stalemate. But I'm hoping for this one to be high scoring. Anything really. 1-0 win will do whatever. Just we must really try to get these 3 points because it will then put us in a great position again. I'll say mentally, it could have an impact. I don't think obviously the title will be decided if we were to lose, but just mentally it can have that impact. You
right.
know, we'll be in such a great position, and then all of a sudden, after within a couple of short weeks of us dropping these 5 points and then playing them, all of a sudden they're ahead of us in the table, even if we do have that game in hand. So it's really vital that worst case we don't lose, but if we can get them 3 points, it will be massive for us the rest of the season and trying to win this Premier League. As I was saying about the stats, we talked about it before our FA Cup game. So I just had to look back now again. The league stats is something unbelievable to see. Like I cannot believe when I've seen this. I don't think any team ever in the history of the Premier League has had this sort of record over us. Listen to this stat, bro. Last 10 Premier League games against Man City, 10 wins for Man City. That is like, well, they've had a real hold over us in the Premier League. We've beaten them in the FA Cup a couple of times in the semi-finals, but in the league, bro, that's a crazy record to. When you just look at that, 10 wins in a row in the league we had. So before that, we got a draw in 2016 against him at the Etihad, but after that, it's been 10 straight wins for him. The last time we beat him in the Premier League was in 2015. So yeah, it's just such a big game. It will help us so much psychologically as well. Not just in the title race, but just as a team, it give us a lot of confidence. Having suffered so much for them in recent times, we saw, as you said, in that last game, we played them in last season at home. We really should have got the win there. We got unlucky. As you were saying, we a couple of mistakes on our side as well really cost us. But yeah, bro, we're a much better team now. We're confident, even after these two not so good results. We have such a good season. This is the season where we're gonna beat them. Gonna do it on Wednesday, bro. It's due, bro. 10 wins in a row we've had. It's due.
I
It's good.
feel it. Yeah.
Yeah, bro.
I,
Let's
I agree, man. It's again, I think this feels just like that progress. You can see it happening against Liverpool, right? And back in October, obviously Liverpool is not where they used to be, right? But still, it was that psychological thing. And even though Liverpool was weaker, it doesn't matter. Like they still had, you know, the guys on our team had never beaten them, basically, right? So, but you saw the progress, right? Even though it was funny to say it out loud, but like seeing them go from 4-0 to 2-0, going back and forth in the Carabao Cup, like you saw the change over time. And I feel the same way here, like I almost kind of regret the fact that we had to postpone the games early in the season. I would have liked to play City early on when Holland was at his hottest, right? Um, but yeah, like yeah, this is we're due, and so like it's going to be a massive match, man. And I'm despite the past, like I don't want to get into the way the community is kind of getting online, at least that I've read, like people are already starting to panic and freak out. Like we're a much better team than that, and these are humans that we're rooting on, so it's like we can't expect perfect performances all the time. Like some dips are going to happen, and but that's why we have a good bench. And yeah, I just think we're going to figure it out. Because we have to basically. Um, as much as we want to see our boys win the title, like we got to understand, like, and I'm not saying you because I know you're level headed, right? But like some people who maybe watch these videos or who are online, like as bad as we want it, like the guys in the dressing room want it probably just as much, if not more. Like they're gonna go out there and put in the work. Like we're gonna be cheering them on, right? Supporting them, backing them. And we want it to happen as fans, but they want it as professionals. Like and that's all we can ask, right? Like they just go out there and play your best and put in the work and let's hope it happens, right? And I think it will. So let's fucking go, boys.
Yeah, come on, boys. Let's do City. Come on, we could do them.
Let's fucking go.
So looking ahead to the weekend games, as we normally do our show later in the week, we'd look ahead to the weekend, but this time we're doing it very early in the week. We've got this midweek game, so it's difficult to preview our game against Aston Villa. We don't know the outcome. This game can have an impact on us psychologically as well. We don't know about injuries as well, so it's hard for me to ask you your prediction on the Aston Villa game, but that will be our game after, which I will not see you till next week after this. So just quick thoughts on that Aston Villa game, lunchtime kickoff. Umar Emery, we were hoping, I was saying the other day, I was hoping that he might do us a favour when they were playing City. That wasn't to be. Aston Villa, thoughts on that game?
Well, I thought I was kind of hoping we'd have Agent Emery uh for the game for the match on Sunday, right? I thought they would play a little bit better and maybe steal some points off City and just kind of keep the pressure off us. But unfortunately, they didn't. They looked like shit. They looked completely just. They looked terrible. Like it was bad. Um, I don't think we get the same the same Villa team. Unfortunately, we've already beat them once, and it was a Douglas Luiz hit that once in a lifetime shot. We came back, responded well, ended up with the win. I don't think they're going to look as shit as they did against City. I feel like, I mean, just look at the result. I mean, obviously, very different teams and different fucking outcomes or whatever scenarios is what I meant to say. But Everton had the game of their life against us, beat us, and they've looked like shit today against Liverpool. Like, come on, like, of course they played their game of their life against us. So that's probably what's going to happen, right? We're going to get their best game. But I think ultimately, like, they're just not very good compared to us. It should be an easy win. I'm going to say 2-1, but it's not going to be the 2-1 like last time where we had to come back. I think it's 2-0 for a long time. They get one back, but we hold them off. So I think we get a win, especially regardless of the result that happened. Or, if we win against City, I think we finally get off that hump and we continue. I think we're on a hot streak. If we lose, I think it's great that we're going to play again in 3 days. We can just get back on the bike and do it again. Draw, same thing. Like just let's get another game. Boom, let's go back on it. So I think we win like 2-1 again. But it's not like the City match. Like it's crazy. Yeah, like we're getting people's because we're at the top, right? We're getting people's best show.
I think if we beat City, it'll be a very comfortable win against Aston Villa. I think we'll be very confident going into that. If we don't, if it's a draw or a defeat, I think we'll be quite nervous because it would have been 3 games in a row without us winning. And if you include the FA Cup game, it'll be 4 games. So I think it'll be a tight
Yeah,
game. I still will see us getting the win either way. But yeah, hopefully if we can beat City, the momentum, like I was saying, so psychologically, it will help us so much for confidence. Already, we're very confident we're having a great season, but to beat City, like I say, a team we've not beaten in the last 10 Premier League games, and we know how good they are. They're the champions. The confidence we will take from that. So it's vitally important. I hope we will beat City, and then if, like I say, if that's the case, I see us comfortably going to Villa and winning maybe 2 or 3-0. All right, bro. So just as always, a few other key fixtures coming up on the weekend. I'll ask you your predictions for. So Nottingham Forest have got Man City.
I think City wins that one. Nottingham Forest aren't a team I even think about too much. They got uh, whooped last game, 2-0. So yeah, I don't have any high hopes for Nottingham. Although they beat Liverpool. Is it at home?
Yeah,
Where is it
Forest at
at?
home. Forest at home. Yeah.
Ah, uh yeah, let's go draw then. Let's go like 2-2 draw. I think Nottingham Forest, they got my boy Navas, Keylor Navas from PSG, Costa Rican goalkeeper, absolute baller. Um, so hopefully he lifts everybody's game up a little bit, especially for a big game like that. Yeah, we'll say a draw. I think, City is, again, I still don't think City are better than us. I think they're also going through a little period too. So yeah, I think Nottingham Forest bounces back from their loss and goes and gets a draw, steals a point off of City because we're
No,
gonna beat them, and so City's gonna feel down about it.
that would be amazing, bro.
Yeah.
And then Newcastle versus Liverpool.
Oof. You know, Liverpool actually. I don't know. I don't know how to feel about Liverpool because what I watched before we hopped on, right? Like Liverpool weren't. They didn't. They got their first goal was really good. Like an incredible counterattack, length of the pitch. Like if you get a chance, watch the highlights, man. That first goal, just vintage Liverpool, right? For the most part, they just kind of looked aimless out there. Um, but I think this win's going to boost their spirits a little bit. Um, yeah, so I think Liverpool and getting another win. I think the two teams, City or Chelsea and Liverpool, the two teams that are at mid right now. I think Liverpool's going to be the team that looks a little bit better. Um, and Newcastle does not have Guimaraes. He's been injured. I don't know if he's coming back yet, but I'm looking at their list. Oh, he's not on the injured list, so maybe they get him back. But they've been struggling without him, Bruno Guimaraes. So I think if it all depends on if he plays, we'll say that, right? If he plays, I think it's a draw. If he doesn't play, I think Liverpool squeaks out a win. So let's say 1-0, 1-0 to Liverpool. Because Newcastle is just they're stingy, man. I watched that game against Bournemouth, and Bournemouth looked dangerous at times, but that Newcastle defense is just kind of spectacular, man. It's annoying.
Yeah, they got the best defensive record in the league, haven't they? Strong
Yeah.
defense. I think he's been suspended. Emirates, I
Oh,
think he's suspended. Yeah,
Bruno. Oh,
yeah.
okay.
So yeah, that's why he wasn't playing because if I remember right, he had a red card. Uh,
That's right. So then it
yeah,
wasn't an injury. He was
suspended.
suspended. Okay.
Yeah. All right, cool. So going into the Sunday then, your prediction for Man United versus Leicester. One thing, it's very funny because they won against Leeds, good win, but just a couple of days before that they drew, and after they won, and because we dropped points, but a lot of people mentioning they might be back in the title race because it's only 5 points right now, but we do have 2 games in hand on them. It's funny how I heard the likes of Gary Neville was talking about it as well. Like, come on, like, I don't think I really can't see them getting into the title race, but you you know it's the Premier League. You never know. We still do have a substantial lead over them. Like I said, it looks tight in the table, 5 points, but it is 2 games in hand, which would make us go 11 points ahead of them. But yeah, what's your thoughts on their game, and do you think they are in the title race?
I don't think they're in the title race quite yet. I also feel like a couple of more intelligent fans that I know who are United fans aren't ready to declare that yet. They got a lot. They have our very similar issue to us in terms of like depth that we had more so last season. So again, there's so much football to be played, and again, we do have the two games in hand. I right now don't see them strong enough to sustain, this run that they're on. Um, and I think Leicester is a team that's, I mean, oh man, they destroyed Tottenham, which was sweet, by the way. That actually made the pain of the Brentford draw a little bit better. Um, they're 13th in the table. They remind me a little bit of like Nottingham Forest. Like they're both two teams that are like just you don't know what to expect to them from them week to week. So, um, but I think they play at Old Trafford. Um, I'm gonna give I'm gonna give United the advantage. I think they end up. Actually, no. Leicester's a little bit of a hotter streak. Their form is a little bit better. I'm gonna Leicester upset 2-1. Let's go.
That'd be great. And
Yeah,
then last game for this weekend's predictions I'll ask you about is Tottenham versus West Ham.
Tottenham versus West Ham. West Ham got a draw most recently against Chelsea. Couple of other VAR like controversies on that one as well. Um, Tottenham look like shit. I mean, they're always shit, but they've looked absolutely horrible. Um, I feel like they got lucky with that 1-0 win against City. I'll take it all day, right? But and they're about to start Champions League again. Um, yeah, I don't know. They're very inconsistent. I don't think they're going to win this next one. So I'm gonna pick I'm gonna pick West Ham to steal a win. West Ham is still fighting off relegation, so those relegation teams are dangerous right now, as we've seen. Everton have been playing a little bit tough. Leeds playing tough against United. Bournemouth, I thought, was quite impressive against a strong Newcastle team. Um, and Wolves, I mean, shit, they won 3-0 against Liverpool just a week ago. So yeah, that relegation fight is bringing out the best in some of these teams. The best, I'll say it in quotation marks. So I think West Ham is going to look at they're going to smell a little bit of blood water against Tottenham, and I think they're going to go ahead and pounce on them and and beat them again. I don't think Tottenham looks very good. Even in their win against City, they didn't look like the best team out there. So West Ham, we'll go 2-0.
Okay. So yeah, big week, bro, coming up. I'm just looking now at our fixtures after this City game, and the next seven fixtures after that, you would say we're massive favourites to win each of them. Again, it's the Premier League. You know, you can't take anything for granted. We've just seen us last couple of games struggle against Everton, who are right down at the bottom of the league, and Brentford, who are doing well, though. Got to say, credit to Brentford as well. That's one thing. Right, we've been talking about the VAR and the struggles we had breaking down their defensive low block and we were fouling and time wasting, but they are a good team. They did play well against us. Ivan Tony, he is a real force. We saw him aerially, he was winning so many balls up there. So, they are a really good team and credit to them, got to say, for the way they performed here. But yeah, after that, bro, after City, as we said, we got Villa away. You'd say big favourites for us to get the 3 points there. Leicester away again. I know they just beat Tottenham, but they're very inconsistent. We're way better than them. It is a difficult ground to go to at times, I know, but again, we should be big favourites to get a win there. Everton at home again. I know they just beat us, but it's different. It's gonna be our place. We're gonna be ready for them this time. I'm sure we're gonna start figuring out how to deal with these teams that are doing these real negative tactics against us with the low block and, like I say, the time wasting and fouling. Also, hopefully soon, Jesus will be back. I think that's going to make a huge difference for these,
Mm-hmm.
especially as I was saying to you earlier. Then it's Bournemouth at home. Again, massive favourites to get the 3 points there. Fulham away. Again, massive favourites to get the 3 points there. Crystal Palace at home and Leeds at home before what you'd say our next real difficult game. Which even that, I know it's at Anfield, but where Liverpool are playing right now, you'd say going into that game we're favourites to win that too. But it's looking as a real good run of games coming up for us after this City game. So if we can beat City, then there's a real good chance through March, you're looking at the fixtures we've got coming up, right up until the 8th of April, we could really build on this lead and grow it. Really put the pressure on City.
Absolutely. I think that's a good point. The only ones I feel a little bit nervous about would maybe be like Fulham. I feel like at home they play really good. Um, but yeah, every other game, like I feel like Villa. Yeah, we're gonna get the best from a team like Villa, but I think we're clear of them and we can win. Same thing with Leicester. Like again, they're just too inconsistent to be like, oh shit, we should worry about them. Like we're clearly better than them. I think Everton, we gotta like bounce back. Bournemouth, same thing like that. Like I mean, we're clearly better than them. So yeah, again, big every game is tough, but we play our game. We should be yeah, we can get the win. That momentum is just gonna, I think, carry us to go on a little hot streak like United was on for a little bit, like City has been doing, like Tottenham. Like again, I just feel like, we were just due for a little bit of a dip. And you name a single team, uh, including like well, let's say not Arsenal, right? Because we've been top the whole time. But every team below us has gone through some kind of dip and drop points and done this. And what's set us apart so far up to this point has been like we haven't done that. And so you can kind of see these past couple games, just a little bit of dip, but I mean, everybody like we're just now kind of showing we're human. And so again, at the same time, like, but who's to say we can't turn this around and go on a nice little run? Because we've done it before. Other teams are doing it. It's a game of runs, man. We'll see what happens, but I feel very good about regardless of the again, I, whatever the result is on Wednesday, it's not over either way. Like we can't throw in the towel or start saying, "Boom, the league is ours." Like, no, there's still a lot of work to do, but it's a huge match regardless. So I feel good about our chances, regardless of what happens on Wednesday.
Yeah, bro. Yeah, a lot of people are saying they're getting worried, and I can see like seeing the performances the last couple of games being a bit worrying of how we've managed to deal with teams that are doing these tactics against us. But as you said, we've been so good all season. It's about we're just going on one of them runs again, which we're showing we're capable of doing. So looking at the fixtures coming up, as I'm saying, it's a real great chance for us to go on a really good run again. And like I say, doing that, if we beat City as well, we could get into a really good position in terms of the amount of points we got. So yeah, bro, let's hope we can do it game by game, as we said. Thanks for your time, bro.
My pleasure, man. Come on, you Gunners. Let's fucking go. I'm excited, man.
Yeah, bro, that's all from us. Thanks for watching, everyone. Please remember to subscribe, like, and share.